Mr. Dixon, are we recording? The time is now 5:30. Welcome to the regular board meeting of the Mississippi Achievement School District. Today is January 18th, 2024. Thank you everyone for participating in our board meeting for today. The agenda is before you, and the agenda is adopted. Mr. Dixon, can you confirm that we're broadcasting on Facebook?
Yes, sir. We are live.
Okay, thank you. For those of you participating, we have to ensure that members of the public who are outside of our Zoom environment have access to the board meeting, and Facebook is our way, and that meets the access that's required of us by law to ensure that individuals can see our board meeting in operation. So thank you, Mr. Dixon. And also, before I finish or begin with the rest of the agenda, I want to thank all of the staff members of the Mississippi Achievement School District in regards to what we've been doing to ensure that our schools are taken care of during this time. I hope and pray that everything has been well with all of our staff members who've had to endure the conditions of this freeze of the snow and the ice. And I hope that all is well. Mr. Giles has shared with me that in Yazoo City, that many of the residents are having issues with waterline breaks, and I hope those issues are taken care of as soon as possible, because as you know, it is never a pleasant or comfortable situation to be dealing with that kind of issue. Also, we still have ice in the northern part of Humphreys County where our buses cannot travel, and so we are dealing with that issue there. But regardless, I hope that all is well with everyone. And thank you to all the staff members who participated in the virtual meetings this week, as it has been a time for us to address some issues and some details that we have needed time to address. So I appreciate your cooperation in meeting virtually with your supervisors to deal with those things and to address them and bring whatever resolutions that were required for those particular items. We will proceed now with the board meeting. And once again, the agenda is approved. That's before you. Number 3, we have the approval of minutes for the special call meeting held on December 4th, 2023, and the regular board meeting held on December 18th, 2023. Those minutes are approved. We're now down to discussion action items. Dr. Austin will manage item 4.1 and 4.2, and I'll yield to Dr. Austin.
Good afternoon, Dr. Watkins and community stakeholders. Now we will have the reporting of our board reports, monthly board reports from our Yazoo City school administrators. We will begin with Mrs. Doyle, principal of McCoy Elementary School, followed by Miss Belcher, principal for Woolfolk Middle School. Then Dr. Kelvin Fuller, who is the principal of Yazoo City High School. Ending Yazoo City's reports will be Mrs. Strong, who is the director of Larry Summers CTE.
Good evening, everyone. McCoy Elementary School is identified as a CSI school, and our second benchmark assessment results are as followed. For proficiency, we had 9% of our students to score proficient in reading, 23% of our students to score proficient in math, and 4% of our fifth graders to score proficient in science. And growth for all, we had 19% in reading and 50% in math. And the growth of our Power Kids, or our lowest performing subgroup, 24% in reading and 53% in math, which gave us a total of 182 points. For our December data, our total enrollment was 885 students. Our student ADA was 87.36%. The percentage of students with 2 or more absences was 38%. Our teacher attendance rate was 92%. Our number of discipline referrals was 24. The number of ELA classroom visits 4 in our learning conditions and 11 with our core actions. For math, there were 4 in the learning conditions and 8 in our core actions. For science, 2 in learning conditions and 2 in our core actions. Going down to our second benchmark comments, we have began vertical alignment PLCs by content across grade levels in 1st through 5th grade, beginning with our professional learning opening session for the 2nd semester. And we are going to get those done weekly. Science teachers are now going to continue joining the ELA teachers with their PLCs. Consultants will begin high dosage tutoring this semester with our science students, and they will continue with our ELA and math. AmeriCorps tutors will begin pull-out sessions with our K through 2nd grade struggling learners. They were set to begin on Tuesday, but they will be there Monday. And our inclusion teachers now have a more defined role with the co-teaching in the general education classrooms. As far as district level support, continuing to plan PLCs for instructional leadership team with follow-through and feedback during our learning walks. Also providing guidance with MTSS process and the documentation, as well as leading efforts with behavior and attendance plan for identified students. For our budgets, the allocation of resources for school improvement funding, 1003. For our second benchmark balances for FY24, that is still to be determined. For FY23, our remaining balance is $114,769.84. And for FY22, that's $10,746.85. For our title funding for FY24, we have a balance of $223,283.12. For FY23, we have $338,977.62. And for FY22, we have $9.53. And that concludes our board report.
Thank you, Ms. Doyle. Mrs. Belcher.
For Woodfork Middle School, we are identified as a CSI school. And for our second benchmark data can you scroll? For reading, our proficiency is 15%. For math, we're at 18%. For science, we're at 36%. For the growth of all in reading, we are at 46%. Growth of all for mathematics, we're at 59%. The growth of the bottom 25%. For reading, we're at 53%. And for math, we're at 69%, giving us a total of 296, which is a D level. January 2024, for a total enrollment 481, student ADA at 90.18. Teacher attendance rate is at 94.57. Number of distance referrals is at 56. Number of classroom observations for ELA. For learning conditions, there is 3. For core actions, there are 30. For number of classroom observations for mathematics, learning conditions, there's 2. 10 for the core actions. Number of classroom observations for science. For learning conditions, there's 2. 15 overall for core actions. How our school is addressing areas of challenge presented in the data noted within this document for the second benchmark assessment. To address those challenges presented, we have embedded an intervention schedule for 7th and 8th grade students, which will have teacher coaching in the areas of ELA and math provided by our curriculum support specialists. We have continued implementation of high dosage tutoring. We're utilizing the data for classroom observation to guide professional learning for teachers and delivery of instruction, which we are basically redesigning our PLC and PD plan for the months. We have also extended lesson plans to reflect a 2-week planning period and efforts to review in a timely manner and give effective feedback. What the district is doing to support the school principal and our leadership team. The district continues to provide the PLCs for the school leadership team and staff upon request in efforts to ensure success of the school. For allocations of resources for the school improvement fund and 1003, for our FY remaining balance, it is to be determined. For FY 23, it's $106,597.49. For FY 22, the remaining balance is $14,731. For our title funding, for FY 24, the remaining balance is $135,631.67. For FY 23, the remaining balance is $168,948.07. And for FY 22, the remaining balance is $320.65. That will conclude our board report for January.
Thank you, Ms. Belcher. Dr. Fuller.
Good evening, everyone. Yazoo City High School is identified as a CSI school as well. Second benchmark results for reading proficiency, 46%, growth of all for reading, 81%, and growth of all for the bottom 25 LPS, 93%. Proficiency for math, 15%, growth of all, 90%, and the growth of our LPS, 96%. Proficiency for biology, 4%. Proficiency for U.S. history, 8%. Total enrollment, 582. Student ADA, 482.77. Number of students with 2 or more absences, 44.59. Teacher attendance rate, 90%. Number of disciplinary referrals, 22. I did not include the observations on this report just to ensure accuracy, so I will revise those numbers when I receive them. Second benchmark assessment. High dosage tutoring has recommenced and teachers will continue to communicate growth goals to students. Teachers are taking a more strategic approach and identifying misconceptions and achievements through PLCs and peer observations. Yazoo City High School is in the communication with parents in an effort to help them understand the urgency of students reaching their goals. Writing strategies are ongoing to increase writing scores on benchmark and state assessments. Discipline referrals have decreased. The services of marriage counseling and other outside agencies have proven to be effective regarding restorative practices and student behaviors. The district leadership team has been supported through ongoing professional development with online and site-based training for teachers, administrators, and support staff. These trainings focus on effective teaching strategies that support teacher instruction and student learning. Furthermore, the district leadership team has supported Yazoo City High School with the implementation of data tracking for student and teachers for progress monitoring of benchmark and 9-week assessments. Balances for school improvement 1003 is to be determined for FY24. FY23 balance, $59,530. FY22 has a 0 balance. Allocations for title funding, 1, 4, and 5. 24 balance, $90,599.57. FY23, $104,935.29. And for FY22, $7,488.57. This concludes the Yazoo City High School report.
Thank you, Dr. Fuller. Mrs. Strong.
Good evening, Dr. Watkins, colleagues, parents, and stakeholders. At Summers, we have two national industry certification programs, industrial maintenance and carpentry and construction. First-year students in industrial maintenance completed two modules. Module 1, where 20 of 21 students were successful at 95%. Second-year students completed Module 3 and 5. 11 of 13 was successful at 85%. With carpentry and construction, first-year students, 20 of 26 was successful at 77%. Module 3, 4 of 26 was successful at 15%. And for Module 4, 6 of 11 was successful at 55%. With a 95% participation rate. Total school enrollment is 197. Total teacher attendance rate is 97%. We have 0 discipline referrals. Classroom observations in industrial maintenance 3, for carpentry and construction 2, law and public safety 3, health sciences 2, education preparation was 2, and in automotive technology, there was 3. Okay. Allocation of resources from Carl Perkins balances for FY24. The total allocations are $84,061.79, with a remaining balance of $84,061.19.
Thank you, Ms. Strong.
For-
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Strong. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Thank you all for
You want me to complete?
go ahead. I didn't hear you, Ms. Strong.
Go ahead.
Thank you all for presenting your reports on the Yazoo City side. Now we will transition to our reports on the Humphreys County side. We will begin with Dr. Landfair, principal for Ida Green Elementary School, followed by Ms. Janina Tanner, principal for O.M. McNair Middle School, Mr. Samuel Matthews, principal of Humphreys County High School, concluding with Ms. Morris, director of T.C. Randall CTE.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Ida Green Elementary is a CSI school. Looking at our benchmark 2 assessment results, for reading proficiency, we had 39%. For reading growth of all, we had 62%. For reading growth of the least performing subgroup or bottom 25, we had 69%. For the math proficiency, we had 17%. For math growth of all, 47%. And for the growth of all with the bottom 25 or least performing subgroup in math, 68%. And to just put some students to those percentages, for our reading proficient, we had 58 students out of 150 to meet their goal for that category. For the reading growth of all, we had 56 students out of 90 to meet their expectations for that category. For reading growth of the bottom 25 or least performing subgroup, we had 31 students out of 45 to meet their goal for that category. For the math proficiency, we had 26 out of 150 students to meet their goal for that category. For the math growth of all, we had 42 out of 90 students to meet their goal for that category. And for our math growth of our bottom 25 or least performing subgroup, we had 23 out of 34 students to meet their goals for that category. Our total enrollment for December or for this January board report is 363 students. Our student ADA is 93.65%. Our percent of students who are chronically absent is 12%. Our teacher attendance rate is 95%. Our discipline referrals, we had 2. Our observations were lower because we were working on some formal observations. So usually this number is much higher, but for our ELA learning conditions, we had 5. Our core actions, we had 6. For our math learning conditions, we had 3. And for our core actions, we had 4. Our plan to address our benchmark 2 data, looking at we're doing a re-engagement plan for or implementing a re-engagement plan for 3rd and 4th grades ELA and math to hone in on those skills that students are deficit in, but also keep those students high on standards that they were high in. Our high dosage tutors are about to begin again. Teacher coaches, we offer test incentives. We're doing strategic small group interventions to help us reach our goals. Spiral reviews, which ties into that re-engagement plan as well. We have those targeted PLCs for planning data and content, and we've taken more ownership of the data. The teachers, they do the data protocols for the district, and we also do like a SWOT analysis where we identify areas of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats with our data. We do the instructional leadership data protocols, and we also do student data chats. We ensure high quality tier 1 instruction is going on by having observations and following up with that with feedback. We do co-teaching and modeling, and we also send home weekly newsletter to parents. A way that the district is helping us reach our goals, we have district learning walks where we observe classrooms, and then we debrief to see about our strengths and weaknesses and areas that we can make improvements in. We have leadership PLCs, and also we have a critical friend assignment who helps us with things we need to reach our goals, and we have book studies to help us implement more best practices so that we can reach our goals. Okay, now we'll look at the allocation of resources. Okay, for our school improvement funding for the fiscal year 24, that balance for the second benchmark is still to be determined. For our fiscal year 23, the allocation is $112,246. Our remaining balance is $53,500.82. For our fiscal year 22, the total allocation was $115,446, and our remaining balance is $0. For our title funding allocation of resources for fiscal year 24, the total allocation was $219,773.37. The remaining balance for benchmark 2 is $49,544.45. For our fiscal year 23 total allocation, we had $197,353.26. That remaining balance for fiscal year 23 was $59,900.38. For our fiscal year 22, that total allocation was $247,702.51, and there is no money remaining in that category. And that concludes the board report for Otter Green.
Thank you, Dr. Lanfair. Ms. Tanner?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. McNair Middle School is identified as a CSI school based on benchmark 2 assessments. Our students received 14% proficiency in reading, 14% proficiency in math, and 21% proficiency in science. In growth of all, there was 33% in reading and 64% in math. And growth of our bottom 25%, 46% of our students met their goal in reading, and then 80% in math, which gave us a total of 273 points with an accountability projection of a D. For the month of December, we had 334 students enrolled. Our student ADA was 84.61. Our number of students with 2 or more absences was 16.17. Our teacher attendance rate was 93%. Our discipline referrals was 11. Classroom observations, 5 learning conditions, 3 core actions for ELA. For math, 1 learning conditions and 3 core actions. And for science, 3 learning conditions and 2 core actions. In terms of our benchmark assessment data, scroll down, that's the first benchmark. Okay, so for our second benchmark data, we're continuing to do the things that we did during our first benchmark assessment with our re-engagement plans. The only difference is that initially in first benchmark, we were doing re-engagement plans with only our ELA math and science teachers. Now we have started to allow all of our teachers to have a re-engagement plan of some sort in their classroom, so that we're helping students to close their gaps. We're identifying proficiency goals and growth goals for each student based on their last year's MAP projection, MAP score. We have teacher coaches and high dosage tutors to help support our teachers, to just help them build their capacity, to help them be able to meet the needs of their scholars. General education teachers, special education teachers, coaches, tutors, everyone facilitates some sort of small group instruction with students throughout the day. We're also maximizing intervention support for students to address unfinished teaching and learning through a 45-minute uninterrupted intervention period at the beginning of each day. We have our high dosage tutors that are pushing into our ELA math and science classes. And we are having analyzing data to inform decisions, looking at our data to determine where our greatest strengths were, where our opportunities lie, and then making data-driven decisions from there. In terms of district support, those supports include monthly principal PLCs to help us as leaders build our capacity around data, instruction, and systems. We have school level PLCs every month, and that just helps us to align our practices and monitor our implementation efforts. We have learning walks where we are monitoring implementation efforts around our instructional routines and expectations. We also are allocated the necessary funding that we need to be able to have those high dosage tutors and teacher coaches in our building to support our teachers and our students. We also have a 90-day plan that we implement and monitor to ensure that we are aligning all of our efforts across the board. And the data tracker. We have a world-class data tracker where we're able to track all of our student performance data, always see where students are performing to what their goal is and how they are performing on each benchmark as well. In terms of our allocations for FY24, that is to be determined. FY23, we have about, the allocation was $115,013. The remaining balance is $56,619.78. For FY22, that allocation was $116,060. That remaining balance is $1,236.86. And that's our school improvement allocation. And for our title funding, FY24, we have an allocation of $232,929.93 with a balance of $67,020.77. For FY23, that allocation was $231,953.76 with a balance of $121,870.54. And FY22 allocation $268,426.01 with the remaining balance of $11,290.14. And that does conclude our McNair report for the month.
Thank you, Ms. Tanner. Mr. Matthews.
Yes, good evening. I'm Mr. Matthews. I'll be presenting Humphrey County High School data. Currently we have, can you scroll up just a little bit? Mine is kind of, if you don't worry about it, I know the numbers. Currently we have 703 points as a total, which we are projected to be a B. In the area of proficiency in reading, we have 57% of students proficient. Growth all, we have 87%, and bottom 25 we have 92%. In math, we have 38% proficiency. Growth all is 67%, and bottom 25 is 95. Science and biology, we did receive 25 points. We had 25% of the students proficient. And U.S. history, we did receive 16 points. We had 32% of those students proficient. And before you stroll, just to give you an update on our overall goal. Our overall goal is for Humphrey County High School to be an A. Currently, our slogan is we on the road to an A. So we say our points by mileage. So right now we are 51 miles from the lowest possible A, which is a 754. So I just told my teachers today we're 60 miles away from their road to an A. So we left 8 points on the table for ELA bottom growth. We left 6 points on the table for math proficiency. We left 33 points on the table for growth all in math. And we left 5 points on the table for bottom 25 growth in math. So our goal this 9 weeks is to pick up those points so we can get this A. All right, so total enrollment for Humphrey County High School, 427 students. Our ADA is 92%. Number of students with 2 or more absent, we had 49. Teacher attendance rate, 89%. Number of disciplinary referrals, we only had 12. Number of observation, as Dr. Lanford alluded to, our numbers are low as well because we were doing formal evaluations, and I'll be sure that these numbers will be considerably higher this next board meeting. We have 1 learning conditions and 4 core actions in ELA. We had 1 learning condition and 3 core observation in math, 1 learning condition in science, 2 core actions in science, and 2 learning conditions and 2 core actions in the area of U.S. history. Second 9 weeks, our challenge that we discussed this 9 weeks was to get a permanent history teacher. Last 9 weeks, we did have Ms. Bangman to step in, but we were able to address that issue, and we do have a U.S. history teacher on board for this semester. Our goal is to increase proficiency rate in U.S. history and biology. High dosage tutoring will resume next week to help with these efforts, along with papers and tutoring.com. And of course, on the district side, they're great with providing principals with critical friends to help with professional growth. We have monthly meetings still being held to discuss best practices as well as data. Also to analyze teaching and learning. Learning walks are being held with the principals to see coming trends, core actions, and to provide feedback to administrators. So kudos to our upper heads in the administration. They do a great job on the district level. We do not have any school improvement funds. And Title 1, 4, and 5 for fiscal year 24, we had $3,205, $508.58, and of that remaining, we have $59,636.26 remaining. Fiscal year 23, we have $102,268.21 left for the fiscal year 23. And for the fiscal year 22, we have no funds available. And that concludes Humphrey County High School board report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Ms. Morris?
Good evening, everyone. I'll be presenting for Thomas C. Randall Career and Technical Center. We do not have a school identification. We currently have 3 programs that provide us with industry certifications through NCCER. For the second benchmark assessment for HVAC first-year students, we had 10 out of 15 who completed their module assessment successfully. In second year, we had 3 out of 4. Carpentry and construction, we did not have any students to test during the second benchmark. With welding, we had 14 of 18 first-year students who tested successfully. In second year, we had 8 of 12. Scroll, please. For the January report, we have 138 students currently enrolled at Thomas C. Randall Career and Technical Center. We had a teacher attendance rate of 61.5%, 1 discipline referral. The number of observations for HVAC was 2, carpentry and construction 0, welding 0, educator preparation we had 2 observations, health science we had 2 observations, diversified agriculture we had 3. Allocation of resources, our Carl Perkins balances for FY 24, we had $32,576.52. For benchmark 2, we still have a remaining balance of $32,576.52. FY 23, our allocation was $39,506.30. We have no funds remaining. FY22, we had $36,042.08. And from that allocation, we have a zero remaining balance. That concludes the report for Thomas C. Randall Career and Technical Center.
Again, thank you, leaders on the Humphrey side, for presenting those board reports. Dr. Watkins, that concludes board reports for all school sites.
Thank you, Dr. Austin, and thank you, principals and directors, for your presentations. Those items 4.1 and 4.2 are accepted and approved. We're now down to consent agenda 5. We will begin with Mr. Giles, and we will proceed with each individual after Mr. Giles as they are listed. You would just state your item, and once we have completed all of the consent agenda items, I will approve those items at that time. Mr. Giles.
Thank you, Dr. Watkins. Good evening, everyone. Item 5.1 is approval of the service agreement for centers pending recommendation by the school district attorney. Item 5.2 is approval of the addendum to JH&H contract to provide services to re-roof Woolfolk Middle School, Taylor Building, and the gym roof area. This is an agreement for architectural services.
Good afternoon, Dr. Watkins. Item 5.3 is approval of personnel actions from the previous board meeting, December 18th until January 18th, 2024. Item 5.4 is approval of MASD board policy revision to board policy involving holiday pay.
Good evening, everyone. 5.5, approval of application to purchase a sped bus for Yazoo City.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Watkins, we are presenting a number of professional services contracts to you this evening for approval to begin our spring services for teacher coaching and high dosage tutoring. So in 5.6, we are requesting your approval for a professional services contract between MASD Humphreys County and Harper Educational Consulting. In 5.7, we're requesting your approval of a professional services contract between MASD Yazoo City and the Kirkland Group. In 5.8, approval of a professional services contract between MASD Yazoo City and RL Mac Consulting. 5.9, approval of a professional services contract between MASD Humphreys County and RL Mac Consulting. And continuing in 5.10, we are requesting your approval of an MOU between MASD and GA Carmichael for the Yazoo City region. In 5.11, we're requesting approval of a professional services contract between MASD Yazoo City and Kids First, LLC. In 5.12, we're requesting approval of a professional services contract between MASD Humphreys County and Kids First.
Dr. Watkins, in 5.13, good evening, first of all, good evening to everyone else. In 5.13, we were asking for the approval to ratify the approval of Yazoo City High School students who are in the advanced STEM program through the Global Teaching Project to attend their workshop and their session in Jackson. And then in 5.14, we're asking for the same, but for Humphreys County High School students to travel to Jackson for the Global Teaching Project advanced education programming there.
Dr. Watkins, at 5.15, I'm asking for your approval of our FY24 CFPA title budgets for Humphreys County. And at 5.16, I'm asking for approval of FY24 CFPA title budgets for Yazoo City.
So, Shaw, I think 5.17 is actually yours. No, it's mine. Fixed assets. I'm sorry. Approval of the Yazoo City fixed assets disposal. And that's 5.17. All right, now, Ms. Upshaw.
Good afternoon. 5.18, Dr. Watkins, we're requesting your approval of the claims dockets for January 18th, 2024. We have the Yazoo City claims, claims number 60139 through 60227, totaling $346,108.34. And our Humphreys County Region claims numbers 182727 through 182814, totaling $325,466.67.
Thank you, Ms. Upshaw. That completes all items on the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda number 5 are approved. Let's go to item number 6.
We are requesting approval of the financial statements for December 31st, 2023. We have the Yazoo City Region financial reports and the Humphreys County Region financial reports. Those reports include our statement of bank reconciliations, our statement of fund balances, our budget status report, our statement of incomes, revenues, our statement of expenditures, and our cash flow report for our district maintenance fund. We're requesting your approval of the financial statements.
Thank you, Ms. Upshaw. The item you just presented, item number 6, is approved. That completes all of our items on our board agenda for this evening. Once again, all items on the board agenda are approved. And we're down at number 7, adjournment. Thank you, everyone, for participating. We stand adjourned. Have a great evening.